how. I hope you're all doing great. Welcome to my weekly live update on progress, plans and problems in Zanete Knits headquarters. Today is an exceptional day because it's 28, almost 30 degrees Celsius outside. So I will not be wearing all my whips, veering away from the tradition. I've got my helper here, sporting the main whip, but I am actually wearing one of them, and I still should get some credit because it's the one with mohair in it. Luckily, I haven't managed to get too far and it's still bearable, but there is progress, and that is the cardigan as designed by our La Grace Vest Cal winner, Christine. I have I finished the back to the underarm and the front two shoulders, and I've joined them in one piece, and now I have the privilege of working a straight piece down to the hem, and I will decide what the hem looks like. So it looks small, but it isn't. It will be dropped shoulder, and there's plenty of room here even though it looks small, and it's a roomy neckline for the cowl to not suffocate. So yeah, I think it's going well, and it's going on track. I used almost all my knitting time on this piece since last week, and that's how I managed to get this far. We'll see how far I get next week with this, but I'll take it off now because it's so warm. You can't imagine. I'm sure you can actually if you've been knitting for a while. And I'll just put it on the side here while I talk about the next. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should probably discuss the yarns that are in this project. Again, there is 2 strands of lace weight merino with the shimmery bits in it from Debonair Yarns in colorway silver and pumpkin, and held together with mohair from the knitting shed and colorway lime mortar. So 3 strands and a beautiful, beautiful fabric. I can't wait for winter. Hi! My other whip is this fingering weight version of the Pagan Sky, and because we had it was the Knit in Public day, the World Knit in Public Day on Saturday. So my friend Leona came over, and together we went to I'll tell you more about the event, but if you were here last week where I complained about the thing that's happening with my hand, which meant I was struggling a little bit to knit the small gauge projects, and she helped me out, and it was basically her who did all of that down to the hem. And then I just finished the hem yesterday. Well, almost. I'm in the process of binding it off, and my next stage is the steek. I am a little bit behind, not because of my hand, but because of time management on other projects in my life. So the test call was scheduled for the end of this month. It will actually be really, really early in July. So like a week later than it was originally planned, but it's not too big a deal. I hope. It's still really hot here. I can't imagine anyone who's really dying to knit something. So that's that. So again, the yarn here is from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. It's called Squish Fingering in colorway Paul Newman, with as main color, and this lighter one is called Spillin Tea, and it's got lots of nice speckles in it. Right, so yeah, I hope that next week I won't have this project with me anymore, because I will have done the steeking, sewn on the buttons, and I'll mail it to Leona, who agreed kindly to finish the sleeve. And yeah, that will be the end well, maybe I'll have some photos of how it looks when it's all buttoned up without a sleeve. That was my plan to get this week, but I didn't, and that's okay. But we had lots of fun on Saturday. I think, yeah, that's it. That's all the knitting and spinning there is. I've still got this thing. I haven't been able to get to it. But what I will tell you more a bit about what we did on the weekend. And we went on a London yarn crawl organized by Cambridge Yarn Festival. And we were a bunch of, we were 12 all together going through the middle of summer heat in London public transport and all that entails. But we visited 3 yarn shops, and I have some yarns that I bought that I am planning to use in my upcoming projects. Not sure when, so many ideas, but I would love to show them to you. So the tradition to knit a pair of memory socks from any trips that we do together will continue, because I picked up this, it's called Amble Wandering Souls. Sorry. It's from the Fiber Co. And that will be a main color. And I will pair it with, initially I thought I'll just put it together with this. Oh, I hope you can see the colors are so nice. It's sort of green, darkish green. And then something came over me and I thought, why wouldn't I throw in a bit of accent with this multicolored greenish grayish rusty thing as well. So I have some colourwork sock, but predominantly plain idea in mind, and that will be the London Yarn Crawl memory sock. But before I do that, I still have to do the Valmiera memory socks from when we were in Latvia in April. And I don't know how this happened, but don't you think that this and this is really similar? I'm going through a phase and I didn't even know it. So yeah, maybe I might as well do them at the same time. What an accident, and totally unintended. That's one thing. That's the yarn for one project. And then I could not help myself when we went to, I got that from the shop called Knit with Attitude. It was a really lovely shop in Islington, I think, somewhere in North London. But yeah, we didn't have to worry about where, because we were guided by lovely ladies from the Cambridge Yarn Festival. So yeah, and Google also knows, so don't take my word for it. But then we got to Loop, and Loop is probably the only knitting shop I had been myself in London. I mean, I live so close by, but I had never gone and visited any other London knitting shop but Loop. So this was my 3rd or 4th time there, and every time I'm just, yeah, overwhelmed with the diversity and variety and the colorways that they carry. So this time I was I spent probably about 15 minutes trying to choose the best combination for another colourwork sweater in fingering weight yarn from Madeline Tosh, and it's a I think it's yeah, it's merino with some shimmery bits. So that I can't really get the light right. The purple, this is much darker in real life. Maybe here you can see. Yeah, like that's as close. No, it's even darker. It's so saturated and so juicy. I just couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I was I was torn between this as a contrast color and again it's much darker in real life than I can show you here, but hopefully when I make the sweater and take real photos, it will come through. Again, don't know when that will be, but I have some plans. If the plans survive until I actually get to action them. So yeah, thank you so much for the yarn shops and for all our buddies and our friends that we made on this yarn crawl. It was a lot of fun, and I think we're gonna go in November again to 3 different yarn shops, which will be fun. And yeah, I think there's a few more things that I can talk about today before I sign off. I have been working hard on the presentation that I will be giving on as part of the virtual tour to Baltics, and yeah, it's taking a lot more time than I anticipated, but I'm trying to make it as succinct and valuable as possible. So putting on extra effort there, which takes away from knitting time again. And I'm going away this weekend for 3 days as well. So I'm not sure how much knitting I'll get done. I might have to skip next week's update because there might not have been any movements in my projects. We'll see about that. But this week is the last week of the Zanete Knits first ever cowl. So if you are a participant, or if you're really quick at knitting socks, until 15th, which is 2 days, until the end of 15th, you can submit your finished object photos in the Ravelry forum where we run it, and you will be part of the prize draw, and we'll be selecting, I don't know the word, 6 prizes this time. So yeah, it's a big chance to win something, and also, of course, share your work and get inspired by other knitters' work in this cowl as it's running in these final days. And yeah, probably if I'm not here next week to talk about this, next Saturday, for all of you who are test knitters of any of my patterns or recently were test knitters, we'll have a Zoom call for a couple of hours on a Thursday. There is a Facebook event in my Facebook page, and we'll also email you all the information shortly. So I hope to see you there. The first one was so great, so warm, so comfortable and lovely that we can't wait to do it again. And one final bit, I think next week is yeah, it is next week, because I've not lived in Latvia for so long, but next week is a big week for any Latvians, because we take summer solstice very seriously, and it's a national holiday. For 2 days you just make loads of flower crowns and drink beer and eat cheese and meat-filled pastries, and don't go to sleep on the 23rd to 24th of June. So we'll try and mark it in our way as we can, and we're preparing for that too, with a knitting twist. So if you are a newsletter subscriber, you can watch out for a newsletter about that. If not, it will all be shared on social media in due course. And I think I have a question or a comment here that I want to read from Andrea. I've been working so hard with the jumper on my lap in this hot weather, but I won't get it done by 15th. Oh my goodness, I feel you. I know how hard it was. Leon and I were trying to knit in public day on the London Underground and the bus, and there was no air conditioning anywhere, and I was with my mohair and it just would get stuck to my fingers and the stitches wouldn't move, and it was more frustrating than enjoyable to knit in this heat. But at the same time, it was we felt really what's the word? Oh, I'm really bad with words. today. As we were knitting on the train home from London, we were sitting amongst some children and they were mesmerized with our knitting activity, and it felt good to show the younger generation what knitting looks like. And yeah, it's Leanne said she had an idea. We could hypnotize children because they were really so focused on the knitting part, and for a very long time. I wish my children were that focused on my knitting. When they get a tantrum, I could calm them down. And Andrea is saying my socks didn't win a prize, so I hope my sweater would. Don't worry, all the entries are participating in this final prize draw, so there's still hope for anything that was submitted during the CAL. And I'm sorry if that wasn't clear for the CAL participants, that the first two prize draws were time-based, but this last one is across the whole pool of participants. But I hope you can get as much of the sweater done as possible. And because it's so hot, maybe you just need to do a cropped one or short-sleeved one for the time being, and make it longer when the weather turns. That's an idea. I think that's it for me today, and as always, it's been lovely to have you join me on this little update, and I will see you next week or the week after, hopefully next week, depending on how it all goes. Bye.